The year is 1990. Agent Mara Forrest arrives on site at the abandoned Crow Country amusement park 2 years after closing its doors. What lies within? Who knows? What I do know is that we're going to get every achievement locked within the walls of this park. Let's 100% Crow Country. Due to one of the achievements being Achieve S rank, we'll need to keep a few things in mind as we begin this playthrough. I have to play on at least Survival Horror difficulty. There is a harder difficulty option available, but it's not required for the achievement, so why make things harder on ourselves? I can't heal more than 10 times, I have to find every secret, kill every boss, and I can't use hints. There are stations located around the map that have the number 10 above their heads. If I use one of these machines, I'll get a hint on how to progress and lose S rank. There are, of course, other miscellaneous achievements, but I'll bring them up as we get to them. Let's begin our exploration of the park. In the parking lot, read the file on the hood of your car to get some basic information about the case you've been sent on. Edward Crow was reported missing by his daughter Natalie and was last seen by someone named Mr. Tolman. The case was reported to Detective Harrison James, but he was probably on vacation or something, so we came instead. The door ahead is locked, so grab some handgun ammunition from the trunk of your car and open the way forwards. Grab a medkit before continuing, and check the nearby trunk to find it's locked with a silver keyhole and belongs to Edward Crow. Find a flashlight in the room ahead, along with an antidote. Nearby is some handgun ammo, along with a handgun laser sight in the nearby bathroom, and more ammo. A book in the stall tells us a man named Arthur Mole is taking photographs of something. All we have on us besides what we've found so far is our ID, making us 25 years old and a firearms expert. Find a door locked by a bronze keyhole and some shotgun shells before finding our first real piece of information. Around the park are magazines that detail gameplay tips, as well as staff memos about how to solve puzzles around the park. The one we just found is telling us that the bronze key is located in the fairy pond, and that there's something wrong with the ventilator there. Behind the large crow is a secret panel that reveals a button. When pressed, 2 side buttons open up, one for spinning the crow, the other for moving it out of the way. It's obviously got something behind it, but we don't have the necessary item yet, so let's move on. Find the number 2106 written in blood, probably a code for something. Notable locations nearby are a mailbox with a bronze keyhole, a puzzle with swans that requires an egg or something similar, a large mushroom, and the entrance to the fairy pond. Here's where things begin to get strange. The keypad doesn't have 0 as an option, meaning 2106 won't work. A memo nearby tells us we can find the passphrase for the fairy in Crow's Lounge, so let's head that way. Along the way, we find a man who we learn is Arthur Mole, the guy who took the photo we found in the bathroom earlier. He was on the hunt for a better picture, but got attacked, so heal him and take him back to the car. Go back to check on him to get an interesting piece of dialogue. So Mara is aware of the effects of being attacked prior to getting here. Interesting. By checking on Arthur, we've unlocked our first achievement. Head back towards Crow's Lounge to find a piece of paper where Arthur was sitting. He had the code for the Tree Fairy's keypad, so type it in and head for the lounge to get the passphrase. Once we've dispatched those things, head deeper in and find a memo detailing that a dig site is located behind the house with the mailbox keyhole. In here is also a crate full of gold from a guy named Marvin Trumbull. The next room is a safe room, and the memo on the wall lets you know the passphrase for the Tree Fairy. Collect a map of Fairytale Town and find a legal summons for Edward Crow about an incident with a girl named Elaine Marshall. There's also a map locked behind a keypad and a note from Tolman about seeing someone or something strange in an area called the Pool. Leave the safe room, narrowly avoiding some monsters from a nearby vent, and emerge to find that more creatures have shown up while you were away. Dispatch them, utilizing any traps nearby to help, and head to the top of Fairytale Land to find a condemned building area. Cosmic Future was supposed to open in 1990, but due to the park's closure, work was never completed. A memo nearby lets you know that you can find a chain being used to fix a swan, and another has Marv, presumably Marvin Trumbull, telling Edward Crowe that he's setting up operations in Para, Brazil, likely where the ore is being mined from. Speak the passphrase to the tree fairy, and head inside to find that the pond itself is very dirty. A note inside lets us know that in order to clean it, we have to equalize the pressure valve and turn the lever at the proper moment. Shoot the target's reflection to unlock the bronze key. Enter the back room to see a door closed just ahead of you. And search this area fully, finding a hidden panel with our first secret, the Magnum laser. The note attached lets us know that someone named Ophelia died, and she meant something to the writer. With the bronze key, unlock the mailbox, gaining access to the dig site. Find another Tolman memo, this time detailing something called the Roots. A clipboard nearby tells us that an egg-shaped ruby is inside the haunted manor, and the crank handle is in the southeast utility corridor. Search a bucket behind the winch to find a laser sight for the shotgun, marking our second secret. We need to find more items to continue, so head back to the main area to find a new enemy. With it dispatched, unlock the door leading to Haunted Hilltop. Find the map nearby and talk to Julie, who is trying to get in a locked door and tells you there's likely another way around. Enter the dungeon, which has 4 cages with 4 different creatures, and a memo about a bottle of acid locked behind the mermaid cage. There is a computer nearby, but we can't access it yet. A memo on the torture rack reveals the public discovered the gold mine at some point, and a button at the back of the Iron Maiden leads to a secret hallway. In here is our third secret, Magnum ammo, and a note telling us the elevator power switches are in Tolman's office. On our way back to the car to restock on ammo, use the bronze key on the train room to unlock a new safe room. Behind a curtain is another record from Tolman, this one detailing that the monsters are called guests. He was advocating for shutting down excavation of the roots, but Edward didn't listen. There's a computer in the back that also denies us access, but a memo next to it lets us know that a security disk is needed to unlock it. Head back to Haunted Hilltop, finding a hooting bird shaped like a bell that hoots 5 times. Ring the bell 5 times to open up the haunted manor. Inside, answer the phone to talk to a mysterious voice. And search the manor. There are paintings with capital letters and 2 clocks with a painting in between that can't be wound without the right tool. Playing the capital letters on the piano will open the respective painting, unlocking shotgun shells, a little mushroom that wants to grant us a wish for the flamethrower we don't have, and a passageway to another area. Deeper in, we hear a gunshot and find a dead body. However, something odd also happens here. Mara's first thought is to call the police. Isn't she the police? Maybe she means backup. A memo nearby lets us know that there's a generator electrocuting Edward Crowe's office door located underground, and a TV recording reveals that the man who shot himself was Douglas Pike, the architect of the park. He believed Tolman and Crowe were working together, speaking to something that wasn't talking back. Next to the filing cabinet, we learn that the dungeon's computer is responsible for opening each door, and that there's a secret 5th door in the crypt named Ophelia, the name of the person mentioned in the note we found earlier. Leave the office, immediately stepping on a bear trap. I only have 10 heals for the entire playthrough, and that might sound like a lot, but you will soon see that most of these heals are not available. Pull the lever nearby to open up the passageway back to where we picked up the Magnum ammo, and find another Tolman record proving the guests are emerging from the pool. Pick up the map and talk to Natalie Crow in the corner, who feels weak. Give her an antidote to help her recover, and Mara reveals that Harrison James had car trouble, which is why she got sent instead. We emerge in the next area backstage, with a memo nearby letting us know that wooden doors can be burned. The theater has a lot of baby-looking enemies, and a phone call tells us that there were 7 roots in total, one of which was left alone for posterity. A sprinkler nearby will drop water onto another fairy, but it doesn't seem to do anything right now. Head into Fairytale Town and enter the now open mushroom. A memo tells us not to eat any mushrooms, but when have we ever listened? On the back walls are 2 decrees, one that states half of the mushrooms are deadly and the other are fine. By pushing the button on his head, King Mushroom will tell you the scientific name and common name of each mushroom, allowing you to identify the good mushrooms and eat them. But we didn't get anything for it. That's weird. And when you press the button on his head, he's still talking about eating stuff. That's right, we have to eat the bad ones too. This isn't even really a puzzle, it's just tank a ton of damage. In order to recover from eating every mushroom, we have to use a large medkit, 2 small medkits, an antidote, and another small medkit. The large medkit counts as 2 heals, meaning we just burned 6 total heals to get through that. For the remainder of the game, we have 4 heals. The reward for this is a little mushroom increases our handgun firepower, which is a welcome reward if it wasn't at such a steep cost. Leave Fairytale Town to find someone waiting for us. It's Detective Harrison James, who arrived via bicycle. Apparently someone slashed his tires, preventing him from getting here. It's obvious now that we are not, in fact, a police officer. The question now is, why lie? He's looking for Natalie Crow, and we get the option to tell him where she is or not. Worrying about him stumbling around the park looking for her, I opt to just tell him where she is and how to get there. Answer another ringing phone to learn that the first guest emerged in 1988. The voice says that 1988 must have been a pivotal point, where it was late enough to be advanced, but early enough to not be too late. Find Harrison James's bike again near the manor, but he's nowhere to be found, so enter the crypt. Once we're inside, the door locks behind us, and we have a shotgun pointed directly at us. A compass in the floor and tombstones named things like Solomon Wesselby lets us know to turn the heads towards the direction their names imply. Estelle goes east, Solomon Wesselby southwest, Norbert Eastley northeast, and Solina south. Fail to grab the shotgun and pick up some gasoline nearby, and find a gate marking the grave of Ophelia. The tombstone says human in all capitals, just like the 4 gates in the dungeon before. This is our secret 5th door the memo mentioned. Exit this area and... That was one of 4 bosses located around the park. Defeating them all is a requirement for 100%, so we'll have to keep an eye out as we continue. Enter another safe room, this time with memos about how to unlock the shotgun, and more important information about the gold mining operation. We find the mining operation, only it's set up in reverse. It seems like they're putting gold into rocks instead of extracting it. Nearby is the cell, which Mara somehow knows how to unlock. A book says the code to the safe is the year Solina died, so go back and check her tombstone to open the safe and get the crank handle. Open the door to let Julie in and help her set up her exhibition for Edward Crow. She's a lawyer looking into the attack of Elaine Marshall. Dispatch any enemies between here and the manor, and use the crank to solve the clock puzzle. Take the egg-shaped ruby and return to the swan boats. Once we have the chain, return to the dig site and use the crank handle on the pipe, gasoline on the tanker, and the chain on the winch to pull something from the hole. It's encased in resin, so burn it and retrieve the woeful mask. There are now new traps around the park, so get rid of them. And use the crank handle to open the way to the Ocean Kingdom. Find the door the memo in the theater said was likely to burn, and enter the submarine, another safe room. The shotgun is locked up in here, and from the memo earlier, we know that 4 sharks and a dolphin will unlock it. Exit the submarine to find a real big fella. Utilize the explosive barrel to take him down. And grab the map of the area before heading into the arcade. Talk to a guy inside who introduces himself as Marvin Trumbull, the guy we've been reading about heading up the gold mining operations. Once he leaves, search the arcade a little more to find a note saying that there's a number that each machine should be set to. There's a silver keyhole in the back, but we don't have that key yet, so head to the back room to find a ringing phone, which reveals that the caller is Edward Crowe, and that his father bought the land the park was built on. Open the hatch to the large box in the center and grab the map. Then head into the restaurant to answer another ringing phone. Observe the fruit tower nearby and read 2 memos, one explaining how to open the treasure chest and another saying the front door code is too easy. At a soda station in the back, use the order of fruit that we saw earlier to reveal a secret message with the code for the secrets map in the Crow Lounge. Return to collect it and find Harrison James inside. Grab the map and talk to him, who lets you know he's seen the creatures, but he's gotten away unharmed so far. Return to the utility corridor and... That is the second boss dispatched. The number 2106 appears again, but we still don't know what it means. Head into an area that is connected to Crow's Lounge and find a memo detailing that the gold mine is coming under inspection. We also find the answer to the arcade machine note from earlier. We need to get the trident now, so head back to Haunted Hilltop and use the woeful mask on the entrance to Witchwood. Inside is a maze with different symbols leading down different paths. Navigate to the center to find a pool of green liquid and reach inside to retrieve the trident. Once you have it, monsters spawn and all the pillars drop. Kill all the monsters and explore to find magnum ammo, marking off another secret. With the trident in hand, return to the restaurant and sync up all 4 singing monsters to open the treasure chest and retrieve the silver key. Return to the arcade, turning on the power with our new key and setting up the scores for each machine. The Mermaid Machine is a quiz that uses answers that don't make a lot of sense until you remember the game is set in 1990. Once you've set the scores, grab the security disc out of the machine and return to the Mermaid quiz, getting 5 answers correct in a row for another achievement. I get ambushed on the way back to the car, but when I return to get my revenge, they're gone. Not ideal for our minimal healing. Use the silver key on the door to the gift shop, killing the monsters inside. And talking to the little mushroom inside to upgrade the shotgun's capacity. The cash register has a keypad to enter a total, and a note nearby details 3 toys for Natalie Crowe from Edward. By adding up the totals of the correct toys, we unlock the Magnum. At this point, fake items begin to appear around the park. You can tell they're fake due to their purple appearance and that Mara says she thinks an item is what it is. Use the silver key on Edward Crowe's trunk to unlock the running shoes. Then head to the train room to solve the puzzle there. By running the 2 example trains, we can figure out that train A is red, train B is yellow, train C is green, and train D is purple. Use that knowledge to correctly label the example train and retrieve the flamethrower. Return to the dungeon and use the security disc to open each cage by listing the correct attributes of its occupant. Inside the mermaid cage is an empty acid vial, while the others just have general supplies. In the haunted manor is now a lot of guests, so dispatch them and unlock the painting to the little mushroom who upgrades our flamethrower's range. Back in the utility corridor, things have gotten much worse than when we left. Use the silver key on Tolman's office to find the man himself inside. A book nearby lets us know that 2106 isn't a code at all. Use the year of the calendars in the room to watch the videotapes in the correct order, revealing a hidden word, face. Play it on the keyboard to open access to the elevator controls. Turn them on and head out, clearing out the area outside. Take the elevator down, finding more enemies, and duck into a break room nearby for safety. Enable route access and... Three bosses down. The big guy dropped a license plate with the code to escape on it, and we dispatched the remaining enemies down here. Head inside of Route Friday to find a weird setup. Harvest some acid nearby, and return to the surface. Backtrack to the theater, dumping the acid into a tank we found earlier. Turning the valve does nothing to the ferry, so shoot her head off to reveal a key encased in resin. Grab the gold key, and head to the locked storage room to burn it down with the flamethrower. Find a bird inside that hoots 8 times, and talk to another little mushroom who upgrades our magnum. And find a scale with an octopus on it. The only place we've seen the octopus is in the submarine, so return there and shoot it, reading the fun fact that an octopus weighs 1,825 ounces. Typing in the code to get more magnum ammo. Also use the acid on the bones in the toilet to get even more magnum ammo. Then ring the bell outside the manor 8 times to get, you guessed it, more magnum ammo. Return to the dungeon, entering in the details for a human instead of a monster to unlock Ophelia's tomb, granting us the first aid mastery and locking in our 15th and final secret. Return underground, dispatching the enemies and visiting Route Monday. Marvin and Tolman are arguing in here, revealing that Marvin is searching for Crow to help him get out of his issues with the Brazilian authorities. Tolman tells you that the roots are made of pure gold, which explains where all of the gold is coming from. Visit each route in turn. Tuesday has a strange electric device, and Wednesday is a safe room with a map inside. Head up into an area of the park we haven't been to before, the delivery bay, and open a box to find Julie stuffed inside. She offers to help us if we need it, but at the moment we don't. Explore the area more, finding a bomb, and use the gold key on the control room outside. Crow calls to let us know that the amount of gold they were harvesting from the roots was overwhelming, so they had to set up a fake gold mine just to disguise the fact that they were finding so much gold. The control panel in here requires someone to operate it while we take the boat, so recruit Julie and descend back underground to shut off the gas blocking the boat ride. Harrison's bike is down here, which makes no sense. How did he ride a bike down the elevator? But use the computer nearby and the memo on the manual override to solve the puzzle and shut off the gas. Harrison offers to get you out of here, but we still have things to do. Go back up top and hop in the boat ride to find 4 mermaids to check. Inside the third is the battery we've been searching for, but it's dead. Leave the area only to find Julie's glasses and bloodstains where she last was. The park is dark now. There's not much left to do. Head back down and work your way around the underneath, charging the battery back to full and heading towards the section of the underground beneath Crow's office. Destroy the generator powering his door, then go to check it out. Crow reveals that as root excavation continued, the guests became less and less human. A note nearby gives a clue to solve the puzzle, using the numbers in the file names of the monsters. Read Edward Crow's childhood journal, indicating his father was the one to find the roots, and use the money from them to buy the land. Natalie requests you to spare her father and bring him back to talk to her, which we agree to. Use the keypad in the next room with the code we solved earlier to turn on the central elevator. With that guy dispatched, we have officially killed all of the hidden bosses, unlocking that achievement. Use the dice on the ground to type out the code to escape, and head for the final area. Head for the large crow in the center of the entrance, only to have a bullet whiz past you. Move the crow and head down the elevator to find an ambush. With them dispatched, open the way forwards. Inside, we find the dead body of Harrison James, shot and killed. Shoot 7 lanterns to continue forwards to find Tolman waiting for you. Marvin has been behind the bullets flying at you, and now it's your turn to die. It turns out Julie was grabbed and dragged into the vents and just made it out. Instruct her to tie up all your loose ends and head down into the final confrontation. Talk to Edward over the intercom, who refers to you by your real name, Elaine Marshall, the girl who was attacked 2 years ago at Crow Country. He requests you to grab all of the vials and meet him inside. Leave all of your items behind. You won't need them anymore. Edward looks worse for wear. He's infected with the same thing that you were infected by, and you're both going to die from it. Except, he's been making a cure the whole time. 5 vials, enough to cure everyone, except himself. He reveals the purpose of the roots and the pool is a gateway to allow humans through, humans with a message, a warning. He's destroyed their ability to convey the message. The only guest that has ever been able to communicate spoke a few words that he wrote down on a scrap of paper. Before we can read them, he tells us he intends to go into the pool to see what's on the other side, and he requests that if he emerges, whatever he is, we kill him. Honor his request. Before making the killing blow, read the scrap of paper. 2106. Uninhabitable. Ruin. We come 1988. Last chance. Warn. Stop change. 2106 was never a code. It was a year. The year of the apocalypse. The guests are time travelers come back to warn us of an apocalyptic future. But thanks to Edward Crowe, they've all been turned into monsters. Fulfill your promise. Drink the vial to cure yourself, sitting by the fire with the rest of the survivors. By beating the game with 8 heals, 0 hints, 15 secrets, and no extra lives, Crow Country has been 100%ed.